Welcome to my channel. This is another time-lapse alla prima portrait. This is a portrait of George Kayaian, who has been making Star Trek fan films for really quite a long time and has played many different characters, including Klingon characters. And this is him as Captain Allen of the Starship Antyllus, which is, I think, his most recent series that he's either just finishing up or maybe has just finished up by the time I post this. And this photograph actually had a lot of Photoshop work done to it. It was actually a photograph that I think was taken from a film still, and it included his daughter in it. And it was just a part of his daughter that I had to like Photoshop out. So some of that uniform you see is actually just Photoshop paint, where I borrowed some of the colors and removed some of the. I think it was just a blue uniform from his daughter in there, so I could just get a portrait of George, and painting in a background. Again, that background is really just an abstract interpretation of what was in the photograph, and then just working in with the darkest darks. You saw me do drawing very similar to the other drawing that I do. Not a lot of structure there, mostly just angles. This is a pretty straight ahead view of George. So not a lot of tricky work on interpreting side planes and things like that. And just working from dark to light, starting with shadows. As I often do, I kind of wait to last to do the hair. So you see sort of gaps where the mustache and the beard would be, and obviously the hair on George's head. And I kind of just put those in last because it's easier to do. And now I start working on the lit side of the face where you see a lot of the highlights. And here's where some illusions really come into play. The lightest parts on the shadow side of the face are actually darker than the darkest parts on the lit side of the face. Anything that's in direct light, even the darkest parts in direct light, are actually lighter in value than the reflected shadows on the shadow side. In this particular lighting, you could have reflected light that's bright on a shadow side. We don't really have that here. So keeping that shadow structure intact is really important to try to create that 3D illusion on the 2D surface. You see me here just filling in the lips. I actually don't paint very much on George's lips, and I just start going right into the facial hair. You see me making that hair very dark because that's really the shadow color. And I'll start filling in with some lighter colors to pick up some of the gray to make that look a little bit more like George looks today as in this photo. And that's just an easy way to go about creating mass in the facial hair and then the hair on the head. And in George's hair and his head is thinning a little bit, so I just pulled some of the skin color up to try to make that look the way it does. And then uniform's pretty straightforward. Again, not a perfect match on the yellow. Some of that material is, I think that may actually be the original material, which was like velour or something like that. So it's a little hard to get that to match, but I do try to get at least some of the contrast in, and I try to get the emblem on that uniform to show correctly. And this is the final portrait. I hope George likes it. And if you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe and set your notifications. I'm on the internet at robertosuzuki.art, on Instagram at roberto_suzuki_art, and on Facebook at fb.com/robertosuzukiart. Thank you.